The motorcade's growl fades as it crests the hill, and a sudden hush ripples through the living like wind moving over grass. Mist still clings low among white headstones, dissolving as the sun climbs and strikes the marble in hard, pure light. Flags snap high and sharp, flags snapping. Boots keep time on stone, a measured verdict that belongs to no man and every name. Boots striking stone. A rifle gleams, oiled, immaculate, throwing a blade of morning into the eyes of those who dare to stare. He marches the black mat like a metronome for reverence. 21 steps, heel to toe, the pivot clean as a cut, the snap of steel crisp enough to split the air, rifle snapping. The scent is cool, Virginia air braided with faint gun oil, and the leaf-sweet breath of early autumn. The velvet rope hums with the small tremors of hands that grip it, its braid rough against anxious fingers. Cameras hang at the ready, voices compressed to whispers, then to nothing. The president steps from the line of armored doors, smile practiced, shoulders squared against history. Secret Service widen the arc around him with quiet hands, dark sunglasses reflecting white stone and blue sky. He moves closer than presidents usually do, closer than protocol prefers, carried by ceremony and the wary tide of men who guard him. The tomb guard does not see him, he sees past him. The sentinel's gaze fixes on a horizon that belongs to the unknown, not the living. He turns again, bayonet catching a flare of sun so bright it forces even the powerful to blink. "Beautiful day for the nation," the president says, voice warm enough to fill a headline. Aides hover, nodding, jackets whispering, crowd murmurs. A child on his father's shoulders squints into the glare and tucks his chin down, listening the way children do when they sense that something important is happening, but don't yet have the words. The guard halts. Heel kisses marble with gavel-weight certainty. Boots strike echoing. He faces the tomb, not the man. The inscription keeps its own silence. Known but to God gleams faintly, as if the stone breathes with the morning. A staffer leans toward a black-suited agent, whispers traveling like secret currents. The protective arc eases forward a half step. The president does the same, drawn toward the white blaze of the sarcophagus and the clean geometry of the ritual. He wants a moment at the center of a picture the world will see by dusk. He lifts a hand, not a wave, an adjusting gesture, as if he means to arrange the scene itself. "Hold for the wreath," an aide says under his breath. The guard pivots on the mark he has worn into the world, rifle alive in his hands, eyes never breaking. Rifle snapping. A fleck of mist breaks apart in the light. The crowd inhales together, a single soft tide. The smell of damp grass rises, clean as a hymn. The president gestures toward the black mat. "One step," he says to the nearest agent, softer now, private yet public. "We'll bring him off his line for a moment. The cameras need a clear box." No one moves. The agent's jaw flexes, understanding the weight of places. The president takes another small step, polished shoes landing on stone that tolerates footprints but never flatters them. He is close enough now to hear the guard's breath, slow, disciplined, untouched by proximity to power. "Soldier," he says, louder. "A moment." The guard's answer is the silence of a vow. He shifts only in the way precision demands. The bayonet holds sunlight like a held note. A gust threads the arches and lifts the flags into a quick fury before letting them fall. Wind coursing through arches. Silence swallows the hill so completely you can hear the stone's coolness, the soft sigh of leaves turning in distant trees, the metal settling in the guard's rifle. The scent of gun oil is a steady thread in the world's throat. The president squares his shoulders. Rank fills the space like weather. The command comes out clean and sharp, the kind of line that cuts headlines out of air. "Step aside, soldier." The guard does not move. Midday heat presses hard on the May. The president glances at the cameras and finds them ready, patient predators with glass eyes. He smiles again, but tighter. He is used to halls where words move mountains. He has not stood often before a mountain that makes words small. His hand lowers. "Step aside," he says, pleasant, almost conversational. The Secret Service glance left and right, pressure lines drawn through the crowd like invisible string. The veteran in the front row plants his cane and does not speak. He doesn't need to. His eyes burn a warning that only men who've worn weight can read. A mother at the rope pulls her child closer and feels the rough braid grind into her palm. The boy whispers, "Will he move for the president?" No one answers. The air is thin now, sharpened by ritual, by rank, by the distance between them. The guard's boots come down again with the exactness of an oath. Boots striking stone. He turns on a hinge of training and memory, his shadow falling long across the tomb until it fuses with the carved words. For a heartbeat he looks cut from the same white seam of earth, man and marble seamless, living and dead speaking the same language without sound. That is the poster history will remember. Sunlight crowning the cover, steel a ribbon of fire, the sentinel silhouette soldered to the stone he guards. The president's smile chills by a degree. He looks left, then right, measuring optics against centuries. "Soldier," that he says, voice carrying now, kindness trimmed away by office. "Step aside for the ceremony." The guard does not blink. Cameras climb like a forest of black stems, soft shutters ticking. The flags crack once more, an answer from fabric to power. The Secret Service shift their weight. Aides hold breath. The veteran's fingers tighten. The boy's eyes shine. "Son," the president says, voice not unkind but undeniable, "this is an order." The guard's jaw sets. It is not defiance. It is fidelity to the first order he ever learned in this place. Marble, the kind that makes stone glare like fire and coats the air in something metallic. The crowd sways in the sun, sweat on brows, reverence trembling under the weight of tension. The guard holds his line, boots clicking steady. The president stands just yards away, his voice still echoing. "Step aside, soldier." Silence answers. Secret Service agents glance at one another, shifting in the glare. Cameras hum, shutters clicking like insects in the heat. Camera shutters. The president straightens, his tone cutting sharper now. "I am your commander-in-chief. When I give an order, you obey." The guard pivots with perfect precision, rifle snapping across his chest. Rifle snapping. Bayonet catches the sun and throws it back like judgment. His eyes fix into eternity, past the living, past the demand, anchored in silence. A murmur ripples through the crowd, low, uneasy. Crowd murmurs. A woman whispers, "Why won't he move?" A child tugs her sleeve, eyes wide. "Mama, is he allowed to say no?" The mother's lips pressed tight, the rope rough in her fingers. The president gestures to the mat. "Move him aside," he orders an agent. The man hesitates, muscles coiled, then takes one step forward. But before his hand can touch the sentinel, the guard slams his rifle butt against the stone, rifle butt cracking marble. The boom crashes through the cemetery like a cannon firing. Flags whip violently, wind snapping their cloth into fury. Flags snapping hard. The sound freezes the agent in place, reverberating off the rows of headstones until even the air seems to kneel. The crowd gasps. Crowd gasp. Veterans among them rise as best they can, some with trembling legs, some from wheelchairs, their eyes blazing. One voice breaks through, gravel-rich and furious. "Here, no rank stands above sacrifice." The president stiffens, his face flushing red beneath the glare. His aides flinch, whispering frantic counsel, but the guard's silence is a wall, unmovable. His torn shadow falls across the tomb, long and black, fusing with the words etched there. "Known, but to God." Legend crystallizes in that moment. One man in perfect stillness, bayonet gleaming white fire, rifle slammed into marble as if sealing the ground with thunder, standing against the most powerful office in the world. The president breathes once, then leans forward, his voice stripped of ceremony, heavy with warning. "Defy me here," he says, each word a blade, "and I will end your career." Gasps ripple again, sharper this time. Crowd murmurs louder. The boy on his mother's arm whispers, "What will he do?" The woman shakes her head, whispering, "What he swore to do." The guard does not flinch. His chest rises steady, boots rooted like pillars. His silence is louder than law, heavier than command. And the crowd knows the breaking point has arrived. Afternoon lengthens, shadows stretching like bayonets across the rows of stone. The sun softens to bronze, and the eternal flame burns taller in the cooling air, its smoke curling into dusk. Eternal flame crackling faintly. The guard stands unmoved, the echo of his rifle strike still haunting the marble. The president's words hang in the space between them like a blade. "I will end your career." The crowd holds still, caught in the tension between power and silence. Children cling to their parents. Veterans stand rigid with fists trembling on canes. The boy at the rope whispers, "Mama, what's going to happen?" She strokes his hair, voice barely audible. "Watch, son. Watch what promise looks like." The president steps closer, his polished shoes scuffing the black mat that was never meant for him. His face flushes under the cameras, his tone sharpening with authority. "You wear that uniform by order of this nation," he says, pointing at the sentinel, "and this nation is embodied in me. You will move." The guard pivots again, his cadence precise, every motion a verdict. Boots clicking steady. His rifle snaps across his chest with steel finality. Rifle snapping. The bayonet catches the eternal flame, turning steel into fire. His shadow falls across the tomb's inscription, welding flesh to stone. The words glow beneath him, "Known but to God." The veteran in the wheelchair leans forward, eyes shining, voice cracking but strong. "Do you see? He is the tomb." Gasps ripple through the crowd. Crowd gasp. Phones lift higher, recording what feels like history, being etched in real time. The Secret Service shift uneasily, caught between orders and reverence, their hands hovering near holsters, but their feet unwilling to trespass the line the guard has drawn in silence. The president lifts his voice, iron in every syllable. "Obedience is respect. To defy me is to defy the Republic." His hand cuts the air as though sealing the statement with law. The veteran answers, fire in his tone. "Respect is not obedience to men. Respect is fidelity to the fallen, and here, sir, not even you outrank them." His cane slams the stone. Cane striking marble. The sound jolts the crowd, reverberating with truth. The president's jaw tightens. His aides murmur urgently, sweat streaking their collars. Cameras catch every angle, every flicker of doubt, every bead of tension rolling off his face. Still, he pushes, leaning on the weight of office. "Soldier, your duty is to me." The guard halts, steel burning in floodlight and flame. His jaw sets, chest rising slow, unshaken. Silence girds him like armor. His refusal speaks louder than law. Legend takes shape in that moment. One man in perfect stillness, shadow fused with sacred inscription, bayonet blazing with borrowed fire, standing against the full authority of a president without lifting so much as a finger. The boy whispers, trembling, "Mama, is he going to be fired?" The mother's eyes glisten. "Maybe," she breathes, "but tonight he will be remembered." The president's voice hardens, pride and fury lacing each word. "This is insubordination at the highest level. Disobey one more order, and you will never wear that uniform again." The crowd gasps sharp as a gunshot. Crowd gasp loud. The guard does not blink. His silence deepens. The marble itself seems to lean into him, as though the tomb is choosing sides. And the people know. The storm is about to break. Twilight drains into full night, and the floodlights erupt, drowning the tomb in white fire. Floodlights buzzing. The marble glows like bone, etched sharp against the dark sky. The eternal flame spits and hisses, defiant in the wind. Flame hissing. Every face in the crowd is pale in the light, every phone lifted like a witness. The weight of history is a hand pressing down on all of them. The guard marches, boots pounding me. Marble. Each step is thunder in a world that has forgotten how to listen. He halts, pivots, rifle snapping across his chest with precision clean enough to silence even breath. Rifle snapping. He does not move for power. He does not bow for office. He breathes for the unknown. The president steps forward again, his voice breaking the hush. "This is your last chance, soldier. You will move aside. You will obey your commander-in-chief." The words slice the night, authority woven into every syllable. The crowd stiffens, hearts pounding. The mother pulls her child close, the boy burying his face in the scratchy wool of her coat. A veteran leans on his cane, jaw set, whispering through clenched teeth, "Hold, son, hold." The guard halts mid-stride. He squares himself, framed in blinding light, shadow fused into the tomb behind him. His torn sleeve ripples once in the breeze. The bayonet in his hands burns silver fire, as though the eternal flame itself had leapt onto steel. And then he speaks. His voice detonates, low, thunderous, carved from centuries. "I move for no man." The words roll across the stone, echo bouncing off marble and headstones, spilling into the trees, shaking every heart in its path. Echo booming through the cemetery. The Secret Service freeze. The aides blanch. The president staggers half a step back. The crowd gasps sharp and long, then falls into silence, heavier than stone. The guard takes one step forward, heel cracking the marble. Boot slam echoing. His eyes blaze, his chest rises, and his voice roars again, louder, final, eternal, "Only for the unknown." The words tear the night apart, a judgment louder than sirens, heavier than command. They echo down the long rows of graves until it feels as though the unknown themselves have answered through him. Veterans salute with trembling hands, mothers weep openly. The boy stares in awe, whispering, "He's stronger than the president." Legend cements in that instant. The sentinel, illuminated in floodlight, bayonet aflame, shadow sealed to sacred stone, his voice echoing like a storm across the world. The president, silent now, lowers his head. His power, absolute everywhere else, has found its limit on this marble, against this oath, beneath these words. And the crowd knows with electric certainty that what they just witnessed will not stay in Arlington. It will go everywhere. Night settles deep, the stars sharp above Arlington, each one like a cold medal pinned to the sky. The floodlights blaze steady on the tomb, while the eternal flame whispers against the breeze, smoke curling like scripture written into the dark. Flame crackling, wind low, the crowd does not move. They are transfixed, still reeling from the sentinel's thunder. "I move for no man, only for the unknown." The words linger like an echo inside every chest, heavier than any anthem, louder than any speech. The president stands rigid, his face pale in the light. His shoulders, once squared with command, now slope beneath a weight older than his office. Slowly, almost involuntarily, his head lowers, not to the guard, not to the crowd, but to the tomb itself. The gesture is small, but the cameras catch it. And in that moment, power bows to sacrifice. The reporters whisper into live microphones, their voices breaking under the gravity. The world is watching history tonight. A tomb guard has just defied the most powerful man alive, not out of pride, but out of vow. And the president lowered his head, camera shutters, clicking softly. The veteran in the wheelchair raises his trembling hand, delivering a salute that glows in floodlight, silver tears streaking his cheeks. Around him, others follow. A wave of salutes spreads across the crowd until even strangers lift hands to brows, shoulders straightened by reverence. A mother guides her son's hand up, his small fingers pressing to his forehead, his eyes wide with the knowledge that he will never forget this night. The guard pivots, rifle snapping. Boots strike marble again, thunder resuming its endless cadence. Boots clicking steady. 21 steps, pivot, 21 steps. The march is eternal, unbroken by power or threat. His torn sleeve flutters, his shadow welded into the tomb's inscription, "Known but to God." Legend's final image sears itself into the world, a lone sentinel marching beneath the stars, rifle glowing silver, shadow fused to eternity, while the President of the United States stands among the people, silent, humbled, watching, distant bugle call rising in the night. The notes drift across the cemetery, haunting and holy, weaving through rows of white headstones, carrying the truth into the dark. And the narration closes like scripture chiseled into stone. Presidents rise, nations change, power shifts, but the guard remains. He bows to no man. He moves only for the unknown. And tonight, the world learned why silence is eternal. Night presses fully over Arlington, velvet black stretched tight across the heavens. The stars glitter like medals scattered across eternity, each one sharp, cold, eternal. Floodlights blaze against the tomb, the marble glowing with ghostly brilliance, while the eternal flame licks upward, its glow trembling against the wind. Flame hissing, floodlights buzzing low. The crowd stands frozen in reverence, pinned by silence heavier than any applause. They are not merely witnesses, they are part of the vow now, pulled into its orbit by a single voice that thundered against the highest seat of power. The guard's words still live in the air. I move for no man, only for the unknown. They do not fade like ordinary words. They hang suspended, etched into the stone, etched into the hearts of every soul present, waiting to be carried away into the veins of the world. The president does not speak. His chest rises once, falters, then steadies. His eyes, hardened by years of politics and the theater of power, have never met defiance like this. For the first time in his career, the stage is not his. The moment belongs to a silent soldier whose very refusal outshines every speech written on his behalf. His lips part, but no sound comes. Instead, he lowers his head. It is not dramatic. It is not theatrical. It is simply real. A small gesture, but under these lights, on this marble, before this tomb, it is a gesture that shakes the world. The most powerful office bows, not to a man, not even to the sentinel standing firm, but to the thousands whose names are not spoken, whose bones lie scattered across oceans and continents, whose blood bought the very silence the guard defends. And the cameras capture it. The glass eyes that have stalked every heartbeat now blaze it into history. Screens across the world will soon echo the sight. A president standing at Arlington, head bowed in front of a guard who refused to break. Reporters' voices quiver as they murmur into microphones. Ladies and gentlemen, something unprecedented has happened tonight. The president himself ordered a tomb guard to move, and the reply, his defiance, his vow, has gone beyond Arlington. It is echoing already across the globe. Camera shutters clicking. The crowd, thousands strong, begins to stir, not with noise but with reverence. Veterans rise from their seats, some using canes, some pulled up by trembling arms, their spines straightening despite age and injury. One by one they lift their hands in salute, the floodlight catching tears along with brass pins on faded caps. The veteran in the wheelchair wheels forward, cane balanced across his knees. His hand rises trembling, then locks sharp against his brow. The floodlight crowns him, and his voice, hoarse but steady, carries across the silence. You've done them proud, son, every last one. His words strike like a benediction, and the crowd follows his lead. Heads bow, hands press against hearts, salutes rise. Even the children mirror the gestures, learning reverence by instinct. A mother guides her boy's hand to his forehead, whispering into his ear, "Remember this. Remember always. This is what it means to serve something greater than yourself." The guard does not look at them. He cannot. His eyes remain fixed into eternity, past the living, past the powerful, anchored in the vow. He pivots, steel clean in his grip, rifle snapping. His boots strike the stone in cadence, boots clicking. 21 steps, turn, 21 steps, turn. Each movement heavier than politics, more permanent than command. His torn sleeve ripples in the cool wind, the only imperfection on a figure that has become myth. Phones remain lifted, but now they do not feel intrusive. They feel like scripture being written in light. The world will see what these ye saw. A lone sentinel who refused, a president who bowed, a crowd transformed into an army of reverence. The president's aides hover close, whispering frantic counsel, but none of it matters. Power has already yielded to sacrifice. The president himself, pale, silent, lowers his hands and takes a step back, placing himself among the crowd instead of above them. In that moment, he is not commander-in-chief. He is another citizen, another mourner, another man in the presence of something eternal. A reporter wipes his face with his sleeve, forgetting his microphone is still live. His words, trembling, beam across every satellite. Tonight, at the tomb of the unknown soldier, the eternal vow outshone the presidency. The guard spoke, and the world heard. The veteran lowers his hand, his salute complete, and leans back in his chair. He whispers to himself, a prayer disguised as observation, "Now they'll all know. Now they'll all remember." The crowd remains silent. No cheers erupt, no applause breaks the air. It would be wrong here, wrong in this place. Silence is the language of Arlington, and tonight it is the loudest answer. The guard marches on. The echo of his boots reverberates against the marble, rolling across the hill into the sea of graves. Boots echoing longer. His shadow stretches into the tomb's inscription, the words glowing brighter in the floodlight, "Known but to God." He is fused with them, living and stone indivisible. Legend's final image sharpens under the night sky. The guard, rifle gleaming silver, torn sleeve visible, marching without pause beneath the gaze of stars, shadow forever linked to the tomb, while the President of the United States stands silent among the people, head bowed. Then, faint but clear, a bugle call drifts across the cemetery, distant bugle sounding. Its notes bend sorrow into honor, winding between rows of stone, rising into the trees, carrying across the Potomac, into the city, and beyond. Each note feels like a voice from the unknown, answering the guard's vow. The world listens. And the narration seals the night with words carved in stone. Presidents rise, nations shift, power passes from hand to hand. But the guard remains. He bows to no man. He moves only for the unknown. And tonight, the world learned why silence is eternal. If this story moved you, let it travel farther. Share it so the world never forgets that honor cannot be commanded, it can only be guarded. Subscribe for more untold stories of duty, sacrifice, and silence that thunders louder than power. And leave your reflection in the comments, because every word you speak here becomes part of the eternal vow to remember the unknown.